This creature is not what she appears to be. She's an imp, and where she goes, trouble always follows.
You're speaking of yourself, Q, not Guinan.
Guinan? Is that your name now?
Guinan is not the issue here, you are.
You won't believe how the enigmatic Guinan became one of the most pivotal characters in Star Trek The Next Generation. From her mysterious origins to her deep connection with Captain Picard, the journey of Guinan was a carefully crafted evolution that shaped the very fabric of the show. Stay tuned as we delve into how TNG cracked the code on Guinan's character development, revealing the secret behind her profound bond with Picard. This is a story that Trek fans won't want to miss, so be sure to watch until the end to uncover the fascinating truth behind how Star Trek TNG figured out Guinan. It was because of Picard. So, who exactly is Guinan? Well, Guinan is a recurring character in the Star Trek franchise, first introduced on the television series Star Trek The Next Generation. Portrayed by the talented Whoopi Goldberg, Guinan has gone on to appear in the series Star Trek Picard and the films Star Trek Generations and Star Trek Nemesis. She is a bartender in the 10 Forward Lounge aboard the starship USS Enterprise D. Guinan first graced our screens in the second season opener of The Child, and continued to make recurring appearances throughout the next 4 seasons. But Guinan is no ordinary bartender. Inspired by the Star Wars character Yoda, she is said to be hundreds of years old, with a corresponding wisdom and insight that she often uses to defuse difficult situations or comfort other characters. The history of Guinan. It all started with a chance encounter between Whoopi Goldberg and the Star Trek Next Generation team. Goldberg, a lifelong Trekkie, believed there was a vacancy for a female actress on the series after Denise Crosby's departure. She approached her friend LeVar Burton, who played Geordi LaForge, and the producers were at first skeptical, until Goldberg telephoned the production office directly. The producers then had an idea. They were already planning to add a lounge set to the series called 10 Forward, and they thought Goldberg would be the perfect role of the bartender. Gene Roddenberry, the creator of Star Trek, had contemplated the character Guinan as extremely old, and Goldberg suggested she could be the ancestor of some of the other characters on the series. But Guinan was no ordinary bartender. She was based on a real-life Prohibition-era MC and the owner of the 300 Club in New York City, Mary Louise Cecilia Texas Guinan. While the name was adopted, the characterization was changed to a worldly mystic, drawing inspiration from the iconic Yoda of the Star Wars franchise. Guinan's mystery and wisdom quickly made her a fan favorite, with Goldberg appearing in episodes throughout the rest of the Next Generation's run. There were even plans to introduce a son of Guinan at one point, though that never came to fruition. Goldberg's portrayal of Guinan has become intrinsically linked to the Star Trek franchise. She has gone on to appear in the films Star Trek The New Generations and Star Trek Nemesis, as well as a recent Star Trek Picard series. And Goldberg herself has expressed a desire to return to the role, saying, "We all need to believe there is a good, positive future for us." Now, as this might be interesting, you will have to keep watching as we're going to have to look at Guinan's complete TNG and Picard timeline explained. Let's start at the very beginning. Guinan was born on the mysterious home planet of the El-Arian species, sometime before the late 19th century. But even before she joined the crew of the USS Enterprise D, Guinan had already lived quite an adventurous life. For instance, did you know that Guinan secretly visited Earth way back in 1893? That's right, she posed as a wealthy socialite and even befriended the famous author Mark Twain himself. Could you imagine the stories that they must have shared? Guinan would then go on to return to Earth on multiple occasions over the years. In fact, she even spent an extended stay in San Francisco in the early 21st century, where she owned her very own bar, also called 10 Forward, just like the one on the Enterprise. However, it seems Guinan's opinion of our humble little planet had soured by that point, as she was troubled by the inequality and greed that she witnessed. But Guinan's story takes an even more dramatic turn in the 23rd century, when the Borg arrived and devastated her home planet. Guinan was forced to evacuate, along with the few remaining El-Arians. The survivors were briefly pulled into a mysterious extra-dimensional ribbon known as the Nexus, which gave them all their perfect ideal version of reality. It wasn't until the USS Enterprise B swooped in and rescued them that Guinan's path finally crossed with the beloved crew that we know and love from Star Trek The Next Generation. But keep watching, as we still have more on Guinan's complete TNG and Picard timeline, and you don't want to miss this. Guinan's life before she met Picard. In the year 2365, Guinan joined the crew of the Enterprise D, taking on the role of bartender in the iconic 10 Forward Lounge. But Guinan was far more than just a bartender. She quickly became something of an unofficial counselor to the ship's senior staff, particularly the revered Captain Picard. The depth of the bond between Guinan and Picard was revealed in the thrilling two-part TNG episode Time's Arrow. In a captivating twist, Guinan found herself face-to-face with a time-traveling crew of the Enterprise D in 1893 San Francisco, when a wounded Guinan was cared for by the concerned Picard. It created a casual loop that would serve to solidify their enduring connection. But Guinan's importance to the Enterprise D crew did not stop there. She went on to play a crucial role in the first TNG feature film, Star Trek Generations. You see, another El-Arian survivor named Tolian Saran was obsessed with returning to the mysterious extra-dimensional ribbon known as the Nexus. Guinan was the one who stepped up to explain the true nature of the Nexus to Picard and warn him just how dangerous Saran truly was. And when Picard himself was pulled into the Nexus, it was an echo of Guinan who guided him to team up with the legendary James T. Kirk to stop Saran's genocidal plans. Star Trek TNG's writers didn't understand Guinan. Guinan was a puzzling character on the Enterprise D that even the writers of Star Trek The Next Generation didn't fully understand. Screenwriter Ronald D. Moore admitted that they were confused by her. In the book The Center Seat, Moore said Guinan was a strange, mysterious character that none of us really knew what she was. The writer saw a Season 2 scene where Guinan and the powerful Q did some kind of finger puppet thing at each other. Moore recalled thinking, so Q is worried about her? Is she like a super powerful being or something? But they never explained what Guinan really was. Moore said Guinan could see things and sense things whenever the story needed it, but her true nature stayed a mystery. Even so, one thing was clear: Guinan was one of the few people Captain Picard trusted for advice. In the episode The Measure of a Man, Guinan helped Picard understand the important issues around Data's trial. Data and young Wesley also went to Guinan for guidance, drawn to her friendly and funny personality that offered deep insights with witty jokes. So what happened to Guinan on Star Trek Picard? In the Season 2 premiere of Picard, Admiral Jean-Luc Picard faced a personal crossroad. Seeking the counsel of an old friend, Picard pays a visit to Guinan's bar in San Francisco in the year 2401. The two share a bottle of Saurian brandy as they discuss Picard's lifelong romantic shortcomings. But this moment of reflection is soon interrupted by a much larger crisis. Picard finds himself embroiled in a galactic conflict, facing off against a mysterious new faction of the Borg on the USS Stargazer. And just as the Stargazer is about to be destroyed, Picard is pulled into a dark alternate timeline by his old nemesis Q. Determined to reset the timeline and save the future, Picard and his crew aboard the La Sirena travel back in time to the year 2024, and then once again Picard turns to Guinan for help. However, this is not the Guinan that Picard knows and trusts. Due to the changes in the timeline, this version of Guinan has never met Picard in the 19th century, and she is understandably reluctant to assist this stranger. The enduring bond between the two eventually surfaces, and Guinan plays a pivotal role in helping Picard and his allies thwart the nefarious plans of Adam Soong and save Rene Picard's crucial Europa mission. But keep watching as we got more to share, and surprisingly, here is a rewrite in simple language focusing on the key points about Picard's relationship with Guinan being central to understanding her character. Picard's close friendship was the key to understanding Guinan. Guinan and Captain Picard were very close friends on the Enterprise D. Picard himself asked Guinan to come aboard the ship. Guinan once said their bond was beyond friendship and beyond family. According to writer Ronald D. Moore, exploring Guinan's personal relationship with Picard was crucial to developing her character in the later seasons. Moore explained it like this: "As we kept working on Next Gen, we realized it was really about her relationship with Picard. Yes, she was the bartender who listened to everyone's problems, but she had a backstory with Picard, and their personal connection is what drove her character forward. That's the only reason she was on the ship at all." Throughout the show, Picard stayed distant from his crew, but with Guinan, who wasn't officially part of the crew, he could open up about Starfleet matters and personal issues. They had known each other for a very long time through their meetings and were sometimes out of order due to time travel. So while Guinan advised the whole Enterprise crew, her unusually close friendship with Picard was really the key reason she mattered to the show. One fan said, according to Picard Season 2, Episode 9, Q makes a remark, "I always hated that about your species." So her abilities are not just due to the Nexus, her race had this awareness. There is also a truce, I believe, between her race and Q. A deeper exploration of her race or another character from her race would be intriguing if written out correctly. Another fan said, "I always thought she belonged to a race of psychics that had tangled with Q and the rest of his clan in the past, and somehow managed to outsmart them." Well, as we explore more exciting theories in the Star Trek franchise, be sure to check on the Dark Truth, why Star Trek Discovery is ending after Season 5, by watching this video.